Greeting once again, Highlanders fans, and welcome back to GoHighlanders.com's continuing coverage of the 2012 men's and women's track and field season. Today we're joined by head coach Irv Ray. And coach, we're about 1 month out from the Big West Conference Championship as we get your take on the season. Before we get into 2012, though, let's look at your specific events that you handle from 2011, middle distance and distance runners. How did we do last year in those events?
Last year we were pretty young in both events. Chad was out with a thyroid issue, and most everybody else was like freshman and sophomore. So last year was pretty much a rebuilding year for us on the distance side. We had some nice performances, but nothing really that outstanding.
And now, who did we lose from last year? You mentioned it was a very young squad. We bring Chad back, so there's an extra little recruiting coup for you to bring in somebody.
Yeah, we didn't really graduate of anybody significant last year on the men, so it's pretty much everybody back and hopefully a year older and wiser.
All right, well, who is back that you expect to make some noise at conference this year?
Well, let's start with the 800. It's an event that we don't have a lot of people in this year. Just the kind of way things have been falling with folks' ability and training. But Cody Jordan is a freshman, and Demetri Wilright have both stepped up and competed very well, got conference qualifiers, and have a shot at competing well at the conference championship. And then at the 1500, again, it's Cody Jordan's been our main guy at that point. He qualified last week. A real neat success story, I will have to say. A year ago, he was unheralded high school athlete. He walked on, really wasn't even in good enough condition to really compete on a cross-country squad, but he stayed with it, trained, and he's really improved a lot. For example, he ran 3:56 last weekend, which is about a 4:11, 1,600 meters, and a year ago he was a 4:30 guy. So he's made a lot of improvement. I think he's somebody who can really be good for the future, and he's certainly going to help us out in the 1500. Also the 1500, Chad Hall is a fifth-year senior and was conference runner-up about 2 years ago. He's also conference champion at 5,000, and that'll be a focus event for us the second half of the season with Chad in the 1500 to get through conference and NCs and hopefully the USA Olympic trials. And the steeplechase, I have Omar Gonzalez, and Omar is a returner from last year. He was all conference last year and is on schedule to be all conference again and compete for a top 3 finish in the steeple. In the 5,000 and 10,000, those are kind of grouped together. Chad will come back and is right now leading our team in the 5,000. He's the Cal Nevada champion. He won that a couple of weeks ago at a championship setting. And then along with Talal Khan, Michael Gauger, Ben Heck, Sebi Puraci, are kind of our 5 and 10 guys who will be competing both in the 5,000 and the 10,000, and they're all qualified for conference.
Now, some of those names just sound new to Highlanders fans. Who are the newcomers in that bunch? And are there other newcomers that you didn't mention maybe that you might expect to do
Talal
well?
is a returner and has been with us, and Chad and Omar. The new guys is Ben Heck. He's a freshman this year, doing a great job in the 5 and the 10. He's from Northern California, along with Michael Gauger is another freshman from Corona. And then Sebastian, or we call him Sebi Puraci, he is from right here in Highland or Redlands. And those are our 3 really kind of newcomers to the 5 and 10,000 events.
Well, how do you expect in each of these events us to stack up against the rest of the Big West competition? I know you've had Chad in your back pocket for 4 or 5 years now, and he's always good for scoring, but how does that stack up against the rest of the Big West?
Yeah, Chad will have a chance to compete for a championship in the 1500 and the 5. He's already done that once, but we think we've got to do it again this year. It's obviously important part of our team scoring. And then I think Talal Khan is going to be a factor in the 5,000. And then in the 10,000, Talal was the big Cal Nevada champion at 10,000. And Ben Heck and Michael Gauger placed 3rd and 4th, so they're going to be significant contributors in the 10,000 for us at conference. And we're really looking to try to score as many points as we can to help the teams score out that we'll talk about later.
What about the rest of the Big West in those particular events? Are there 1 or 2 schools that typically
Cal
are the
Poly,
teams to beat?
San Luis Obispo is always really strong in the steeple, 5 and 10 and 15. And then Davis this year is doing very well with their 5th-year All-American Peterson. Will be in the 5 and the 10, probably in the 15 as well. and national leading mark in the 800 is Ryan Martin from Santa Barbara, and along with also Jacques from Irvine, who's on a world championship team last year. So the Big West in the middle and long distance has got a lot of All-Americans and nationally ranked runners, which makes it very competitive for all of us.
Looking ahead, beyond Big West, who are the athletes that you've got who might be able to make a splash in NCAAs and beyond this year?
Our teams, again, other than Chad being our senior guy, everybody else is either freshman, sophomore, or might maybe a junior. So Chad's probably the only guy, maybe Talal Khan in the 10,000, and then Chad in the 15 and the 5 will probably be the only ones that go to the first round of NCs and NC finals. But the rest of those guys are really good competitors at the conference level.
All right, Coach, now that we've gone through the men's team, let's switch gears and go back and go to the women. First, take a look back at 2011. How did we do in 2011 based on kind of what you thought heading into the season?
Last year we had a really solid year with the women. Katy was in the 15 and the 5 and scored in both. We had some good performances. Camila Alvarez set the school record in the 10,000, it's kind of neat because her dad holds the school record on the men's side, so it's sort of a family affair there in the 10. And we had some young and developing runners. Alisha Brown, as a freshman, was all conference at 800, and right behind her in 4th was Raquel Hefflin. And then also making the final in the 8, which is an event we've done traditionally well, was Brittany Reimer, who's made the final 3 years in a row and scored. So all of those people were there last year, and they're all a year older and back this year. We didn't have any significant graduations last year. And so starting with the 800 this year, Raquel Hefflin is second on the conference list. She's got a time that's good enough to get her the first round of NC. She's run 2:08. Damajeria DuBose is at 2:09, just a couple of tenths behind her. She's also got a time that's good enough for the first round of NCs and ranked 3rd in the conference. And right behind her is Alisha Brown at 2:10. And I think all the girls are going to run faster, but it's a good start to the season. In the 1500, the same trio with Raquel Hefflin leading the group at 4:28. She's in the top 2 or 3 in the conference as a sophomore. Then Damajeria DuBose at 4:31 and Alisha Brown at 4:32. And all of them will be significant players in the 1500 for us at the conference level. In the steeplechase this year, we have a newer athlete, Tanya Venezuela from San Diego. She's a JC transfer, Southwest Junior College, and she's run a lifetime best already this year at 11:04. Puts her on our all-time, I think, top 5 or 6 steeplechasers in her first go-around, and she's ranked like 3rd or 4th in the conference, so we're going to have some significant points there in the steeple. In the 5 and 10,000, it's my trio of Katy Daly, Camila Alvarez, Jeanette Lindstrom, and those 3 girls will be contributors both at the 5 and the 10,000. And at the 10,000, they did really well at Cal Nevada, and all 3 of them placed in the top 10 of our all-time performances at Cal Nevada, and they'll be coming back at the 10,000 at conference.
Speaking of conference, what are your expectations 1 month out for each of these events and how we'll do at conference?
Yeah, I think that Raquel Hefflin and Damajeria DuBose will be really vying for a championship in the 15. That's an event that's traditionally been sort of a Riverside dominant event, and Brenda winning it 4 times in a row, along with Lisa Lopez, Danielle Evans, and others who have been 2nd and 3rd. Katy Daly's been in 2nd and 3rd in the conference. So we'd like to get that event back. And then in the 800, I think Alisha Brown will be one of the top 2 or 3 in the 800, as she was last year. I think Tanya Venezuela will score well. Davis is really good at the steeplechase, along with one gal from San Luis Obispo. And then in the 5,000, probably won't be one of our stronger events. The conference is very strong. Santa Barbara, Davis, San Luis Obispo have all got some very, very stout runners. Then in the 10,000, I think Katy Daly, Jeanette Lindstrom, and Camille will be all conference and score at a high level there for us in those events.
So you've already mentioned some of the other teams in the conference. Is there one or two of those teams that you anticipate being the toughest competition for us in those events that's traditionally been good?
Yeah, it's a kind of a spread all over. I mean, in each event area, like Santa Barbara's got the leading gal in the 800 and Justin Diaz, and then with our girls really close behind in the 1500 right now, UC Davis gal is leading, but with our girls we're really close behind. So yeah, there's some other, Santa Barbara, Davis, us seem to be kind of the ones that kind of dominate the distance events.
Looking beyond conference, who amongst the student athletes that you've mentioned so far has a chance to do some things beyond conference and NCAA?
So we've mentioned Rocky's in the 800, Hefflin. I think Raquel Hefflin will have a real good chance of making it in the 15, and that might be her stronger event. I think Damajeria DuBose will make it in the 1500, even though she's got a time in the 800. And I think Alisha Brown, by the time we're done, will make it in the 800 for a national qualifying mark. And I think that's it. I think the rest of the gals will be very competitive at the conference level, but quite not ready for the national level. And we're fortunate. I mean, for teams to have 2 or 3 people in an event area qualifying for NCAAs from the Big West is pretty significant. We've done that with Brenda Martinez, Danielle Evans was all-region, Lisa Lopez was all-region in the past, Ashley Williams, and so we're kind of continuing that with Raquel Hefflin, Demetri DuBose, and Alisha Brown. I think will be in that category this year.
All right, let's take you out of your specific individual event mode and put you back in complete head coach, overseer of all events and everything track and field. Start with the men's side. In some of the interviews we've done with some of the other coaches, the word championship has come up. It feels like this year, you always mention that you've got to have the numbers, which we traditionally don't, to throw at some of these events. But it sounds like this year you guys really think you've got a shot, as you like to say, day of the event, if things work out.
Yeah, Cal Nevada was an eye-opener for us. We kind of felt we had a very competitive men's team. But at Cal Nevada, there's 20 teams there from all over the state. A lot of them even from other conferences like Sac State, Nevada, Las Vegas, and some of the others. And we did very well. I mean, we came out third, just a couple of points behind Long Beach, and our men's relay dropped the baton, so that was probably the difference of us being second place over Long Beach. And then Santa Barbara just a few more points in front of us. We had a very close dual meet with Santa Barbara here. So that's our competition. I think Northridge has traditionally been the men's champion. They have a new coach, and they were right behind us at Cal Nevada. So I think Northridge, Riverside, Long Beach men, and Santa Barbara will be kind of like the top 4. I think Davis, San Luis Obispo will be players as well. And it just depends on the day. We've got to have things really fall right for us. You mentioned one of our hard sticking points for us is that we don't have 3 and 4 people in different events. And so, like at Cal Nevada, I think we won 5 events on the men's side. And we'll do the same thing at the conference meet. And then we're going to have some seconds and thirds fall and some people step up. And that's part of a team championship, is having somebody come off the bench and step up and do something that makes a difference of a team championship. And there'll be lots of opportunities while all our events. We're very strong in the men's throws. Caleb, Stuart, Travis, Smith, both leading the events in that. And then in the 400 hurdles, we're very strong with 3 athletes. We have Brian Adams, who's returning 400-meter champion at the 400. Justin Harris, now as a sophomore, has got the number 2 time in the 100 and the 100. Chad Hall in the 15 and the 5,000. Talal Khan in the 10,000. So, you start putting all those events out there, and, we're going to definitely make some noise, and we got a shot at it, but we're going to have to see what happens to the day. And, I say this quite a bit in our interviews, is that we just have to do our very best. We count up the points, and at the end of the day, we'll know whether or not we got the championship or not. But it's nice that we're in the discussion, and the team feels and senses that it could be a special year. And so there's a sense of urgency in everything that everybody's doing, and people are really preparing for that championship at UC Irvine in about May 11th or 12th or whatever it is.
Let's switch over to the women's side in terms of the Big West. Where do you see us fitting into the mix this year, and who are the teams to beat?
Yes, the women's team is a little younger and a little, we've got some real strength areas. And I do want to talk about that. Ashley Gatewood leading the javelin, the hammer, She's up in the shot put. Nikki James is, I think, leading the discus along with our freshman Deja Watkins. So those are real strong events for us there. And then the women's middle distance, 8 and 15, will be other areas that will do very well. And, you know, we've got some nice athletes and some different events in the Danielle Littleton in the hurdles and the long jump, though she's struggling with a hamstring issue. So hopefully she'll be back 100% and be able to give her best, because she was freshman athlete of the year last year in those two events. But just not enough overall strength probably for us to be not more than about the middle of the pack. So we'll be battling for 3rd, 4th, 5th kind of area. And if we can get there and do well on the day and have our individual champions, we're going to feel really good about that. The women's program's a little bit not quite as deep as we've had in the past. And so we're going to be competing in the middle of the pack. And our conference on the women's side and men's side is extremely strong. Davis, Santa Barbara, San Luis Obispo, and we produce a lot of individual Americans and national champions at the national level. So track and field, I think, is great in the Big West. I'm glad to be part of it, and we're glad for the top level of competition that we face. Makes us better.
Well, 1 month to go to conference championships. Good luck. Stay healthy the rest of the way, Coach, and we'll be talking to you in a little over a month, hopefully with a nice big championship trophy by your side.
There you go. Go Highlanders.